Happiest, 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 happiest. You're listening to the Happiest Girl in the Room podcast. Hey. Welcome back to the Happiest Girl in the Room podcast, aka Happiest Diaries. It's still me, Ayodele Alabi. I know I didn't chicken out after one episode. I won't lie, I thought about it a few times. Like, what did I get myself into with my crazy schedule and everything? But you know what? This is my pet project, and I am committed to sharing at least 2 episodes in a month. Yeah, 2 or 3. Maybe 4 in a good month. But we'll see. But I'm going to be doing this basically. Thank you. First to say a massive thank you to everyone who listened to my intro episode. The love has been so real, and I do appreciate the feedback. As they say, feedback is the food for champions. So please keep them coming, and I hope to keep improving. Thank you very much. Let me get right into today's conversation by asking you the question: how's life lately for you? Has it been sweet? Has it been sour? Soft, easy, or has it been tough? Well, tell me about it. I'm sure if you ask every Nigerian living in Nigeria, the tales will be endless and epic. Well, my life lately is where we left things off in episode 1. If you recall, I read the poem that opens up chapter 1 in my book, The Happiest Girl in the Room. So if you didn't listen to episode 1, here's your cue to do that. So you don't get the gist half and half. You can follow me on this journey. Okay, Happiest Girl in the Room fun fact. The book has about 10 chapters, and each of them opens with a poem. Yeah, don't mind me. I'm not feeling like Shakespeare or anything. Let me tell you how that came about. The funny thing is, when I was thinking of, I wasn't even thinking of writing or publishing a book when I started to write those poems. So I like to write, and writing is some form of outlet for me. It's a means of catharsis so if I do feel a type of way, if I feel a type of way that I can't vocalize to anyone, I will just, try and get a pen and a paper. Well, in this case, my iPhone notepad, and, I start writing. And that's how I wrote all those poems. That's why they are so heartfelt, because they just really did capture how I was feeling at a particular time, and I felt like I had no one to, share with, or even if I did share, no one would really understand how I felt about what I was going through. So make sure you get my book so you can read all the poems in my book. So back to poetry number 1 in my book. I wrote that mostly to capture how my life changed, bringing me to my life lately. So let me do a bit of a backtrack. And anyone who knew me, maybe like 10 years ago, would say I'm a lover girl. Well, should I say I was a lover girl? Because these days I don't know. I've not been in love in such a long time, so I don't know if I still am a lover girl. But okay, let's say I am still a lover girl though. And so imagine this young girl, she falls crazy in love with this young, amazing guy. And, they sort of plan out their life together. And then the plan, what she saw, the dream she saw just started to disappear, little by little. And just when she was trying to grapple with the changes and everything, poof, death came with this finality and takes it all away. Yeah, plus the things she could understand, plus the things she couldn't understand, death just came and took that all away. And that's what I tried to describe. That's how I felt, and that's what I tried to articulate in that poem number 1 in my book. I remember for the longest time I kept thinking, was this my life or was this a dream? Would I wake up soon? Like, me of all people, not to toot my own horn or not to brag or anything, but if you'd asked anyone to describe me, then they will probably use words like, sweetest, the kindest person, softest, the warmest, all those very extreme positive adjectives. And so for me to be dealt with the kind of life experience I've had to go through, the hurt and the pain, my dear, I wasn't prepared for it. So it shocked me. It really, really did shock me, and it broke me. And let me put that in there. Let me quickly say that grief changes you. It changes you as a person. And the truth is, I'm not sure anyone will be describing me as, using those extreme adjectives anymore. I don't think so. I don't think anybody will say, oh, I was the warmest. I don't know. If you know me, you can, drop it in the comment and let me know. But I don't think anyone will say I'm the warmest person, I'm the sweetest, I'm the loveliest, kind of. Nah. I think right now, I would say I'm as warm as I should be. I'm as kind as I should be, as sweet as I should be. Yeah, you get the drift. Yes. And I think that it's not bad. Not all changes are bad. In fact, this particular one, I would say is good. Because too much of everything is safe. Even if it's the good stuff, too much of everything is not good. And let me even tell you a funny story. A friend of mine, ADG, she was asked to describe me. She was trying to describe me, and she said everything I described earlier. In fact, she described the attributes to a degree that she said couldn't be quantified in English. She had to use a colloquial word. And I remember she said, "Oh, Ayo, you're just so pete." Pete. As in, that's how she could describe it. She's like, to the degree that she wanted to describe it, there was just no word in English. And it made me, I remember I laughed so hard. It made me laugh so hard, and I could never forget. But now, in retrospect, I don't think that was great at all. And that's probably why I'm grateful for the changes that has come. Sometimes I even do wonder if I had to go through all the hurt and if I had to go through all the pain to toughen up, because I was broken. I can tell you for free, I was broken. So imagine you have those ceramic slates and then it falls and you get to put the pieces together. And what's that thing that they used to put? They used to put pieces together, like glue or cement or anything. Yeah. So it was like they use cement to put something together. And you know what it is, when you see a slate that's been broken and then they use cement to put it together, you can see the scars. It's not the same anymore. Yeah, but it's now solid. It's solid. And I think that's how I describe myself. I think I'm now solid. I'm toughened up. I'm very tough now. I don't think anybody will say I'm pete anymore. And then to come out and to be able to write about it and to be able to speak about the experiences as I'm doing now, it is a most wholesome thing, I must say. So, yeah, it is so awesome for me. And I'm happy that I'm in this place that I am right now. Truth be told, I held back a lot writing in my book. Yeah, I didn't write every single thing that I went through. I didn't write it word for word or emotion for emotion, feeling for feeling, everything that I went through, because I wanted to write my book in a way that would help to heal the world, heal people that needed healing. And I didn't want to hurt anyone in the process, you get, because there are a lot of experiences I went through that if I wrote about those experiences, I knew that it would smear someone else's persona, not because I'm lying or because it's a lie, because it's not. It would not be a lie. It is the truth, and it was my truth, and I could have written about it if I wanted to, but I just didn't want to sort of hurt anyone in the process. I don't know if you get me, but I get me. That's good enough for me. Yeah, so how I came out of that entire thing that I went through, though, I always tell everyone, it wasn't by chance. It didn't just happen. I just wasn't sad today and then joyful tomorrow. It didn't just happen. I was quite intentional. If you've read my book, you see that I even went through therapy 3 times. Was it? Yeah, three. I had to go through 3 therapists. Yeah, so I had people that supported me, and of course I had God holding my hand through it all. And some people look at me now and they tell me, oh, you're such a strong woman, you're such a strong person, like how do you make this single parenting life look so easy? Please, I have to stress that, please, because when people ask me those sort of questions or say those kind of things to me, the short answer I give them is, God is faithful. God is so faithful to me, which is true. But I said that's the short version of the answer, because I rarely get the chance to tell, and it's not everybody that I can't even tell it to. In fact, I don't even think I tell anyone. It's just the answer I give in my head is always different from the answer that comes out of my mouth. I just say, oh, God is faithful, which is true. God is indeed faithful. But in my head, I just always say, I have no choice in the matter. Like, this is the life that I have, and I have to make the most of the life that I have. You get? Yeah, because you think that I would have seen a door that, 10 years ago I saw a door that would have said, widowed, single mom of 2, yeah. And I would march majestically into it, like boom, boom, boom. Of course not. I wouldn't have done that. I love love. I love everything. I love companionships. I love romance. I love friendships. So I wouldn't have seen a door of that reading with hurt and pain. And I'm like, okay, let's take a look and see what it's about. Of course, I wouldn't have done that. But yeah, because this is the life that I have, so I have to make the most of it. So, how's my life lately? Well, most of the time, or all of the time, I take consolation in my faith. I am super close to God. I am super close to my God. And I try to study the scriptures as often as I can, because I draw comfort from the scriptures. One of those scriptures, Romans 8:28, I think, it says, all things work together for good for them that love God. I know I love God. So I know that, I just rest and I find comfort in knowing that, everything is working together for my good. So believe me, when you ask me that question, I want you to know from today that it's not as easy as it looks. So it's not as easy as I make it look. I don't know if I even make it look like that, because honestly, I ask myself, how am I doing it? I do ask myself the question sometimes, because I don't know. It's truly God, because I don't know how I'm doing it myself. But it's really not easy, because I do have my moments. I have silent tears that I have to hide from my children when I'm triggered by something or by an event, or by moments. Like, I remember when I went to process my daughter's passport just a few weeks ago, and I was shamed by the very uncultured Nigerian immigration officer, who knows nothing about empathy, by the way, but knows everything about patriarchy. Like, on a side note though, do you know how difficult it is to process passports as a single parent in Nigeria? It is a hassle. This is the most stressful thing ever. But I digress. Let me stick to the topic that I'm talking about. So yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. People would describe me as, I is so driven, she's so ambitious, yeah, but I'm hard on myself, because I have to be hard on myself. I have to succeed, because I'm so aware of my responsibility as a sole provider for my children. We get no support from anywhere, from God. God is our source, you get. And so I'm constantly telling myself that they must have the best of everything, that I don't want them to feel like they're lacking in any way because of the absence of a father. So I'm hard on myself, I know. I've had to become so conversant with things that I would probably never have bothered myself about. Ask me. I know where they fix generating sets. I know where they find all sorts of artisans. Ask me, carpenter, electrician. God, I beg you. Now that I mentioned electrician, let me tell you a very funny story of a time where the power box in my house went out. My apartment went out in the middle of the night. So everyone had power except my apartment. And you know how painful that kind of thing can be. So by morning, of course, I had to wait till morning. By morning, I told the security personnel in my my building to help me get an electrician. And he did. So the guy came to look at it and said, oh, sorry, it's not something that an electrician can fix. I have to reach out to the NEPA people. They have an office, or I can say an office in my estate. So I'd gone there, and then they told me, oh, and unfortunately for me, it wasn't a working day. I think it was either a public holiday or a weekend. I can't remember, but it wasn't a normal working day. So I'd gone there and I was like, oh, madam, please go and call customer care. Today's not work day, etc. So I said, okay. I sat in my car. I, collected the customer care number from them, and I started to call customer care. And of course, I was calling customer care, and those was very asking me a million questions, but eventually wasn't able to fix whatever the issue was. And I can't remember how it got fixed that day, but it was such a stressful day. I spent the entire day stressed out, and I know that it got fixed eventually, but I know that there was tears involved. I know I cried on that day, but I'm just trying. This is just an example of one of those tough days that I do have. But God remains my comfort. The word of God remains my comfort, and I keep telling myself that everything is working together for my good. I must not wallow in the hurt. I must not wallow in whatever trauma. I must not make it stick. I must not wallow in the self-pity. I cry when I have to. I cry, but you know what? I quickly shake it off, and I tell myself, this too shall pass. You're not going to feel this way forever, so this shall pass. So I guess that what I'm asking you today, when I ask you, how's your life lately? What troubles you today? Do you feel like you're living a life that you don't recognize? You're not alone. God is there. The Holy Spirit is there to help you, to comfort you, to gladden your heart. You just have to let him in, and once you let him in, it comes with this peace. One of my favorite scriptures also, Philippians 4 verse 6, which says, be anxious over nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving present your request to God. It's very simple. So in that exact way, that's what I follow. Be anxious. I don't have it figured out. But guess what? I'm anxious over nothing. Because why? God says I should make my request known to him in prayer and in thanksgiving. So I pray and I'm thankful. And the things that you can't be thankful and be sad. When you're thankful, when you're joyful, you're happy. So, and then if you even go further, the next verse, I think verse 7, says something around the peace that would now come with that. Oh my. The peace that comes with that understanding that, all of this is bigger than you. All of this, you've handed all this trouble, all this stress, you've handed it to God. But the thing is, you do your part, and God will do his own part. It's like you as a person, you want to eat, and you just sit down in one spot. The bread is not going to walk, the bread in the kitchen is not going to walk to you in your room. What you got to do, you got to stand up and go into the kitchen and get the damn bread. That's exactly what doing your part is. And there's some things that you have to do by yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. You just have to do it. And God, as long as you've made your request known to him, you're anxious over nothing, because complaining and murmuring is a sin. But that one is the topic for another day. I'm not going to go there. Yeah, but because once you're anxious, you pray to God and then you're still anxious, then that means there's no faith. There's no trust. You don't trust that he's capable. You don't trust that he's able to do it. Because why are you still worried? I can go on and on. But let me just summarize my life lately. My life lately would probably be described as tough, maybe hard, sometimes sad by someone else, because that's what that person has chosen to focus on. But me, Ayodele Alabi, aka the happiest girl in the room, I rather hold on to God's word that tells me to be calm, to not let the events and circumstances steal my joy, to focus on what's going on, what's going on right, what are those positives, and I focus on it, you get. And the things that I need God to sort out in my life, I put it in his hands and I wait But I'm not staying idle while waiting. I've asked God for everything. I've told him my request, and I thank him. And I do what I have to do as a person. And I know that he will do it. And I know that he has done it before. And he's no respecter of persons. He's done it for one. He can do it for me. And I use other people's testimonies as also, hope, to give me hope that, mine is a small thing. And that's that sort of thing. So don't forget, murmuring, complaining is also it's not of God. If you don't believe me, you can check, I think somewhere in Philippians as well, Philippians 2, around Philippians 2, yes, I think verse 14 says we should do all things without complaining. Something like that, because we are the light of the world. So yes, the pain may change you, but don't let it define your entire life. Embrace the new you. Learn from the lessons that gave you those scars, but don't act scarred. I don't know how else to say it. Don't act scarred. Learn from the lessons that gave you the scars, but please don't go around acting scarred. As we say these days, we move. There's something I wrote in my book around what you focus on becomes your focus. So if you keep on focusing on the things that are not going right in your life lately, that's all you're going to see. But if you keep on focusing on the things that are going right, guess what? That's exactly all you're going to see. So why do you want to punish yourself? It's because you're just focusing on it. You're just thinking about it. You're just worrying about it. It's not going to change. Worrying about something, it's not going to change it. So why do you want to punish yourself and stay in the place of pain when you can move out of it? We move, remember. Shine. Let your light shine in the world. Act like the happiest in the room till you become exactly that, the happiest in the room. So that's it for this episode. I'll see you in the next episode. But don't go until we read the next part of my book for the next time. Thank you. Ciao. Bye-bye. You're listening to the Happiest Girl in the Room podcast. The days that followed the funeral were full of visits from loved ones and other well-wishers who were constantly checking up on my well-being. I was grateful for their presence, but all I truly wanted was to lock myself up in a room so I could fight the excruciating pain I was feeling. I used the word fight because I felt like I was choking. I was truly choking from the weight of the grief that had settled in my lungs and in my heart. Now I know it was grief. But then I couldn't understand why it felt like there was a 1,000-pound rock resting on my chest. My boss Viola wanted me to return to work. She said it was going to be better than staying at home and dwelling in this pain that was gradually evolving into something close to depression. I told her I wasn't sure about it, and so she sent a grief counselor/therapist to help me realize how quickly I needed to return to some type of normalcy in my life. The therapy sessions were pointless, to be honest. How was I to tell this total stranger I was struggling to breathe? How do I explain that I was struggling to live again? Would she be able to provide the answers to the many questions that bugged my mind? Questions like why? What is this about? Why is this happening? Why had God remained silent when I called upon him to reverse this situation? What did this therapy really think she could do or say to make me stop feeling the way I was feeling? So with so many questions, I remained absolutely mute during the few sessions we had. When she realized that she was simply running monologues, we put an end to these miserable meetings. I was later informed that she had sent a report to my workplace stating that I wasn't yet ready for therapy.